Hey folks, Lenny Lawson, the car guru, and your host this morning for at least 23 minutes. Well, it may not be morning where you are, but it is to the radio show listeners who have been putting up with me for the last 28 years. And so, matter of fact, one of them said, "Hey Lenny," well, they sent me an email, and I'm paraphrasing. "Hey Lenny, why and how do you turn your radio show into a podcast?" And that was a pretty easy one to answer. I had no clue how to do it. I researched it, found out, well, you need a couple things. You need a computer that has some type of sound mixing capability. I had that, my Apple iMac. And then you need a high-quality microphone. Of course, I needed that for the radio program as well. And then you need a preamp. My particular brand is called, what is this called? Focusrite. 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 So I plug my high-quality Sterling microphone into this preamp, and the preamp uses a USB cord to plug into the back of my computer. And then I can sit here in my office at Gateway Ford and do this, do a radio program. You know, another important thing is to have something, well, an important point is to have some type of subject that people will be interested in. Now, I've got over 550 podcasts online. So you can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, a bunch of other places and find them. You can just Google My Car Guru Podcast and it will come up. The question is, why would all these other people all over the country be interested in something to do with cars? Well, you know, I think people just like to listen to other people talk sometimes. I told you that there's this guy in, I think it's Illinois. He flew to Greenville to buy a car from me because he liked the program. Why did he like the program? Because it put him to sleep. He has tinnitus or tinnitus, whatever you call it, the ringing in the ears. And he said, "Lenny, your voice is relaxing." Isn't that weird? I mean, I guess I should be thankful that it's relaxing. I hope I get my points across before people go to sleep. I'm listening to an audiobook right now, and it's a really interesting book. I love it, but I despise the guy's voice that's reading it. You talk about a snoozer, so I hope I'm not that bad. But anyway, let's talk about cars and the car business. The car business got really good towards the end of last month. People got over the Iran war. Gas prices are still impacting a lot of people, especially folks that are on a tight budget. And I hope it gets resolved. I heard something today that said that the oil is flowing again. And, you know, there's plenty of oil out there. These price shocks are artificial. You realize that, right? It's just people taking profits is what it is. It's not real. There's just as much oil as there was when the war started. It's just backed up a little bit. And I guess there's some profit taking to be had. But that should let up. I was tickled to death that Ford just announced employee pricing is back. Now, some of you may say, well, that's just a gimmick. No, it's not a gimmick. If you worked for the Ford Motor Company you could be working for them now, or you could be retired from them. But if you were either working before or now, you get a special price if you go buy a new Ford. It is a fixed price, and it is several $1,000s less than I even pay for cars from Ford. When I buy them from Ford, order them, buy them, put them on the lot, my cost is more, significantly more than the employee price is. And so they get a really good deal. Well, for the time being, I think until July 4th, you can get that same deal. It's actually printed on the factory invoice that we get from Ford. And it tells us you have to sell this car for this price. Well, how do you make money, Lenny? Well, Ford pays us a fee a flat fee for selling the car. Isn't that great? I just think that's wonderful. Wouldn't it be great if you could walk into a car dealership and everybody pays the same price and everybody gets a great deal? It's not based on your negotiating ability. I can hear you saying, yes, let's do that. Well, you can right now until July 4th at a Ford dealer. Preferably Gateway Ford in Greenville, Greene County, and I like to say this, where you save a lot of green. I'm also throwing in a $250 gas card until gas prices come down. And let's see, I got 2 years of complimentary maintenance and a lifetime powertrain warranty. See, as a Ford dealer, other than, I get the car from Ford. I'm a Nissan dealer also. And I get the car from them, I pay for it, and then I can sell it for whatever I want to. I can lose money on every one of them. I can make money on them. It's just the wild, wild west out there. Now, if Ford or Nissan says, well, there's a $2,500 rebate on a particular vehicle, then the customer gets that. We take it off the top, and then we report the vehicle sold, and then Ford or Nissan sends us the extra $2,500. It's real money. And in the state of Tennessee, I don't know what it's like where you live, you can actually use that as down payment on a car. So you have to pay taxes on it, basically. I mean, just like you would if you were paid $10,000 down on a $50,000 car, you're paying sales tax on $50,000. It doesn't matter how much your down payment reduces it. Does that make sense? So the rebate is down payment. Now, they also offer special financing, like 0% or 2.9 or 3.9 or whatever. Now, like for example, I priced a Nissan Armada to a guy. He's a loyal Nissan customer, and he currently owns a Nissan, so he gets an additional $1,500 plus another $1,500 that everybody would get. Plus, he can get anywhere from 3.9 to 4.9% financing. Is 3.9% financing a good rate right now? You're darn tootin'. That's a really good number. I mean, if you go to any bank, it's way more than that. Is 0 a better deal? Yeah, but what kind of rebate are you giving up to get that? So how do the captives like Ford Motor Credit and Nissan Motor Credit, Toyota Motor Credit, how do they offer 0, Lenny? Well, they buy down the rate. They actually shift incentive dollars from the car making division to the car financing division of that company. It's just a transfer of funds, and it's basically taking money that they would pay out in rebate, and they send it over to their buddies over at the financing division so that they can basically buy down the interest rate. Is it really 0%? Yeah, it really is. I mean, you just take the total amount financed and divide it by the term. It's real easy to figure a monthly payment when the interest rate is 0. It's not that hard when it's 2.9 because you just use one of those payment apps all over the computers. Okay, I'm going to take my first break. I'll be back here in just 1 minute. Well, for those of you listening to the podcast, that was a whole lot less than 1 minute. For those who are listening to the radio program, it was almost exactly 1 minute. So we were talking about why do you do a podcast? Why? It's a mission for me. I could monetize it. I could probably make a whopping $6 or $7 a month, enough to buy whatever $6 or $7 will buy, a Whopper at Burger King maybe. Or I can just do it as a mission. Why do you do it as a mission? Because people need to know this stuff to improve their car lives. I truly believe that. There's too much money wasted. There's too many people taking their cars in for service and buying all these flushes. Flush this and flush that. And, they just really don't need to do it. And I try to educate them on that. What ones do you need to do? Cooling system flush. Do you need to flush your brake system? Yeah, if it's been sitting for 20 years, I would. Do you need to flush your transmission? Heck no. Don't do that. You'll just cause transmission problems. What else? I don't know. There's other I heard a power steering system flush. Give me a break. You don't need to do that. See, this is the kind of stuff. People, well, it's just like I jumped into a Nissan Armada today, sitting out there on the lot. And I'm very sensitive to the way a car feels. I'm sorry. I just am. Not emotionally, but, how it handles and so forth. And I hit a couple bumps and I said, something ain't right. So I flipped over to the screen to where it gave me the air pressures. Had 48 pounds of pressure in every tire. How much is it supposed to have? 35. So my perceptions, my central nervous system picked up on something, and I was not happy about it. I immediately took a picture of it as I'm going down the road, sent it to my service manager, and I said, who PDI'd this vehicle? That means pre-delivery inspection. He looked it up. He said, such and such did. I said, will you tell such and such to check the air pressure in the tires, please? I don't want to sell a new vehicle to a customer and they're bouncing down the road and wondering, this thing doesn't ride very good. And the only problem is the fact that we didn't check the air pressure first. It's really complicated, folks. It just is. I mean, there's so many different systems on your vehicle, things that need to be checked, fluids that need to be changed, filters that need to be changed, things that need to be adjusted, front-end alignments. People just don't think about that. Why do I need to do that? It's $120. Yeah, but it will save your tires. They'll last longer. These are the kind of things that you can learn in the My Car Guru guidebook. It's how many pages? I get confused between it and the Teen Driver Experience guidebook. Let's see. My Car Guru guidebook is 32 pages of automotive brilliance. Yeah, that's right. That's my slogan. And so you just send me your email address and I'll send it to you. And that'll give you kind of what do they call those things? Cliff Notes. That'll give you the Cliff Notes version of the My Car Guru podcast. And then if you have any serious questions, and you can do like the gentleman did a little while ago, sent me an email, pretty long one, about car trouble that he's having. I think it was, he was hearing a whining noise. See, that's normally my grandkids. But he was talking about, this was when his grandkids were not in the vehicle, I guess. And it was making a whining noise. And we ended up doing something to it. I think at about 30,000 miles, fixed it. Now it has 80,000 miles on it. It's doing it again. What do I do, Lenny? Well, that's for me to solve and him not to worry about. So that's why I do this. You got to have a mission. I don't know what your mission is. You need to find one. Maybe it's just be nicer to people around you. Everybody that you encounter, you smile at them. You intentionally brighten people's day. That would be a great mission. I try to do that as well. But the main thing I try to do, with this program, is to enlighten and educate and keep people from wasting money. Not just in a service department, but buying a car. We've talked about all the different traps that you can fall into and the importance of the 4 targets and hitting them and doing the best you can. Now, when there's employee pricing, you don't have to worry about target number 1, negotiating the selling price of the vehicle. See, these are 4 things that you negotiate separately: price of the vehicle, the trade, the terms of the loan, and the aftermarket items that they're going to try to sell you in the finance office. With employee pricing, you don't have to worry about getting a good deal because it's already a great deal. No problem there. Better than you could ever negotiate, I'm telling you. And then you can still get burned on the trade-in if you're not ready for that and you don't really understand the value of your vehicle before you walk in there, because they may hit you with a number and you look at your wife and she looks at you and you both say, well, I don't know, that sounds fine to me, and you're $3,000 off. That can easily happen. And you're due that $3,000, but you're not going to get it from some of these yahoos. And so you just have to say, well, folks, I'm sorry, that's not enough for our car. You're going to have to do this. And then you've got a negotiation on your hands. And then it's time to start talking about the terms of the loan and what the monthly payments are going to be without any aftermarket items such as extended warranties and gap insurance and all that stuff. So critical to keep those four things separate. Because what the crooks try to do is to lump it all together. I've got a guy up the road. They're the worst payment packers in the business that I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is that they try to close everybody on monthly payment, and the people just don't know what they're paying for the car. They give them a little flash card at the end, and that's what their paperwork is stored on. There's no paperwork. They hand them. This one lady was handed one of those, and she said, "I thought that was the spare keys." And this just happened last week. She said, "No, I didn't buy an extended warranty." She came into our dealership. She didn't buy the vehicle from us. Bought it from our competitor up the road, and came to us, though, to get it serviced, and that's fine. We'll service anybody. And she wanted to buy an extended warranty. And we wanted to know, well, do you have your paperwork? We need to get some information off your paperwork. And she said, no, they didn't give me any paperwork. They gave me this. And, well, we said, your paperwork's on that. That's a flash card. And she said, or whatever you call those storage things, a little miniature card that looks like a credit card, basically. And a little USB pops out of it. You plug it in your computer, and voila, there's your paperwork. She bought an extended warranty from them, paid $5,000 for it. Something that I could have sold for $1,800. Yep. Did she ever buy an extended warranty? She said, well, can I cancel it? And we said, yeah, you can cancel it, but it's not going to affect your monthly payment because it'll just come off the end of the loan. See, a lot of people don't understand that. They buy something they didn't intend to buy. They go and cancel it expecting a refund. Well, they'll get a refund, but the refund will go to the lender who has the vehicle financed, and it will come off the end of the loan. So instead of paying the vehicle off in 84 months, you'll pay it off in 80 or 70, It's not a great way to conduct your business, to fall into that trap. And that's my mission. That's what I want to do, is help people avoid that. I just wish I could reach more people. I reach a bunch. There's thousands upon thousands of downloads all over the country and in different parts of the world. It's just amazing what the internet can do. And you think that life would be a little different in Indonesia or Australia, South Africa, France, all these different places where people have downloaded this show. But apparently it's not. And a lot of them can understand East Tennessee English. Imagine that. I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, I am back. So if you have something interesting to talk about, you've got a microphone, you've got a Focusrite preamp, a computer, you can have a podcast. What else do you need? Well, you need somebody that can push the podcast out there to the world. I use a company called Buzzsprout. And I did some research, on the internet, found out that they're a good host, and they can push it to all the most popular sites that, Google and Apple Podcast and Spotify and all of those. And they make it really easy. They archive everything. They also use AI to do a transcript of the entire podcast. Every single one of them has a transcript that you can read. So that's pretty good. And if it's really, really interesting and you have a massive, massive following, then you can actually make money doing it. A lot of people try that. Most people are unsuccessful. So I don't even try. I just try to reach my local people through the local radio station, in talk radio, and then I do the podcast. And I get all the feedback and all the reward that I need is when somebody sends me a letter saying, thank you. You helped me. You saved me money. You told me something I didn't know. You educated me on how the engine works I wish my husband had done that. No, they didn't say that. So anyway, my other point is the employee pricing thing. Now, if you live close enough to do business with me, I would appreciate it. That's great. But if you don't, and they offer employee pricing in your neck of the woods at a Ford dealership, that's a real deal, okay? However, the dealership can totally screw it up if they are, the bad guys. How will they do it? They'll give you less for your trade-in than it's worth. They won't show you the actual employee price on the invoice. Maybe they make one up. They can get in serious trouble doing that, but a lot of these sales managers and salespeople, they don't care. The dealer's in Boca Raton, Florida. He's not even anywhere near the dealership. He comes up maybe once every 6 months, and his employees, as long as they're sending checks to him, he's fine. That's not who you want to deal with, but I mean, you'll probably recognize it if you read the My Car Guru guidebook. Send me your email address to 423-552-2020. I'll send you a copy of the guidebook. And if you have a teen driver or somebody's getting ready to become a teen driver, you need to get a copy of the Teen Driver Experience Workbook. You won't get to come to my seminar. Well, I guess you could. I haven't announced my next one. But you can at least go through the guidebook, and it'll give you some great pointers to tell your teens. I mean, you could have a little class of your own. I'll even coach you on it if you want to call me. 423-552-2020, and I'll send you a copy of that guidebook as well. So the other things, when you go into that dealership, ways they would screw up the employee price is to sell you a bunch of aftermarket products that you don't know about, put it on some kind of a flash card, and you have no idea what you bought. So you got to keep your eye on the 4 targets. You just don't have to really pay attention to the first one because the negotiation's done for you. Sorry, not done with you. And then if General Motors might come out with one, I'm sure they will. They have to respond. But employee pricing is a very competitive thing to do, and it's a very good thing for the general public. And I think Ford, being the first one to do it, is a great patriotic thing to do that they're doing through July 4th. That's wonderful. Well, thanks for listening to this edition of My Car Guru. Like I say, if you have any questions, send me an email to lennylawson2020@gmail.com or send me a text to 423-552-2020, and I'll see you next time.